I started as a passenger. Now, I am the predator. To survive the Amazon, I had to stop being human and start being alive.
Welcome to Vital Life Stories. Today we explore the ultimate test of human endurance, starting with a sudden, catastrophic plane crash. Metal twisted into the ancient earth as thick smoke rose, marking the sudden end of our modern world and absolute isolation. A single survivor emerged from the burning wreckage, breathing heavily while staring at the endless, terrifying green maze surrounding them completely. The broken screen of a dead smartphone reflected only the heavy jungle rain, severing all remaining ties to their past civilization. Standing beside the mighty river, the person realized they were now merely a tiny speck within a massive, indifferent, biological system. Darkness consumed the forest quickly, as unfamiliar, terrifying animal cries echoed through the trees, awakening a deep, primal fear inside them. Thirst drove the exhausted survivor to drink rainwater collected on giant leaves, marking the very first step of their primal adaptation. Blistered hands struggled to weave palm leaves and broken branches together, attempting to build a fragile barrier against the harsh wild. Striking stones together until their knuckles bled, the desperate human tried to summon fire, humanity's oldest and most vital survival tool. A tiny spark finally caught the dry moss, igniting a small flame that brought warmth and a desperate glimmer of hope. Severe hunger forced them to examine unknown wild berries carefully, relying entirely on dormant biological instincts to avoid deadly, poisonous mistakes. Thrusting a sharpened branch into the shallow stream, the modern humans successfully hunted a fish, completing their brutal reverse evolutionary step. Eating the charred meat by the fire, their eyes grew sharper and posture shifted, transforming from a victim into a predator. A venomous snake slithered silently overhead, forcing the survivor to freeze completely, realizing that one wrong move meant instant, agonizing death. A brutal tropical storm unleashed its fury upon the fragile shelter, testing the limits of human endurance against nature's raw power. Emerging from the muddy ruins of their shelter, the survivor welcomed the warm sunlight, feeling a profound sense of sheer resilience. Deep animal tracks imprinted in the fresh mud warned them that they were sharing this territory with a massive, unseen predator. Glowing yellow eyes pierced the dense foliage as a massive jaguar appeared, initiating a terrifying standoff between human and wild beast. Waving a burning torch and screaming with primal fury, the survivor successfully forced the deadly predator to retreat into the shadows. Collapsing against a giant tree, their heart pounded wildly as they fully accepted their new place within this ruthless food chain. Days turned into weeks as they mastered essential survival skills, moving through the dangerous jungle with newfound agility and quiet confidence. Finding a rusted machete buried in the mud felt like discovering a priceless treasure, a tiny connection to the modern world. With the heavy blade in hand, cutting thick bamboo became effortless, proving that human intelligence and tools conquer raw physical strength. Tying sturdy bamboo logs together with thick vines, they constructed a makeshift raft, fueled by an undeniable urge to escape immediately. Pushing the heavy raft into the swirling waters, the survivor began a perilous journey down the massive river toward unknown destinations. Steep rocky cliffs rose on both sides as the fragile raft navigated through the dark, ominous canyon, increasing the silent tension. Sudden violent rapids tossed the small raft mercilessly, forcing the survivor to cling desperately to the slippery logs amidst crashing waves. The fragile raft shattered completely against a jagged rock, throwing the exhausted human into the turbulent, freezing water without any warning. Fighting the powerful underwater current, they swam desperately toward the surface, refusing to let the mighty river claim their resilient life. Washing up on a muddy bank, they coughed violently, staring at the sky while feeling utterly defeated by the unforgiving wilderness. Exhaustion triggered vivid hallucinations, where towering modern skyscrapers blended seamlessly with ancient trees, revealing their desperate, aching longing for civilization. The soothing illusion faded away, leaving the survivor to wipe the mud from their face with renewed determination to keep fighting. Wading through a thick, treacherous swamp, they pushed aside giant ferns while fighting off swarms of relentless, blood-sucking jungle insects constantly. In the dim light, a mysterious glowing fungus caught their attention, demonstrating the strange and beautiful wonders of this isolated ecosystem. Seeking a better vantage point, they climbed a massive ancient tree, using strong vines to ascend higher into the dense canopy. Reaching the top, they stared across an endless sea of green leaves, realizing the terrifying, massive scale of their wild prison. Far across the horizon, a tiny wisp of smoke rose slowly, instantly igniting a powerful, desperate spark of hope within them. Descending the giant tree with manic energy, they moved faster than ever, driven entirely by the overwhelming desire to find humanity. Sprinting blindly through the thick brush, an exposed root sent them crashing down, causing a deep, painful gash on their leg. Enduring immense pain, they quickly applied crushed medicinal leaves to the bleeding wound, demonstrating the ancient healing knowledge they had unlocked. Leaning heavily on a wooden branch, the injured survivor continued walking forward, completely refusing to surrender to the overwhelming physical agony. As night descended, a severe fever took hold inside the dark cave, leaving the survivor shivering violently from the dangerous infection. Delirious and weak, they dreamt of warm embraces from their loving family, a beautiful memory contrasting sharply with their cold reality. The morning sun finally broke the terrible fever, allowing them to drink fresh water and gather the strength to move again. Stepping out of the shadows, the survivor appeared remarkably weathered and thin. Yet their eyes burned with an absolutely unbreakable spirit. Following a hidden animal trail, they moved silently through the dense vegetation, entirely synchronized with the natural rhythm of the jungle. Spotting a piece of bright blue plastic tangled in thick roots, they picked it up reverently, confirming civilization was truly near. Clutching the small piece of plastic tightly, the exhausted wanderer followed the muddy riverbank, fueled by a sudden surge of adrenaline. A faint, mechanical hum echoed through the trees, causing the survivor to freeze completely and strain their ears toward the sound. Ignoring the sharp thorns tearing at their skin, they sprinted wildly toward the mechanical noise, desperate to escape this green hell. Bursting into a wide clearing, they waved their arms frantically and screamed at a small boat passing quickly down the river. The boat vanished around the river bend without noticing them, causing the devastated survivor to collapse heavily into the wet mud. Hot tears mixed with the thick mud on their face, marking a moment of absolute despair and completely crushing, silent isolation. A vibrant tropical butterfly landed gently on their trembling hand, offering a quiet, beautiful reminder that life still existed around them. Taking a deep breath, they stood up slowly and began gathering massive piles of dry wood to build a giant signal. The massive bonfire roared to life, sending thick columns of black smoke high into the sky, serving as a desperate beacon. Feeding fresh green leaves into the roaring flames, they created even more smoke, coughing violently but refusing to surrender their hope. From high above, the single column of smoke appeared as a tiny, fragile cry for help against the massive green expanse. As the sun began to set, casting an orange glow over the water, the survivor sat by the fire, remaining steadfast. Suddenly, the rhythmic thumping of helicopter blades echoed across the silent river, causing the survivor to look up in absolute shock. A rescue helicopter finally appeared above the dense tree line, its powerful searchlight cutting through the gathering darkness to scan the riverbank. Jumping up with whatever strength remained, they waved their rusted machete wildly, screaming at the top of their tired, broken lungs. The massive machine hovered directly above them, creating an intense downdraft that blew smoke and leaves into a beautiful, chaotic swirl. As a rescue diver descended slowly on a thick cable, the survivor dropped their weapon and fell to their knees weeping. The rescuer tightly embraced the filthy survivor, wrapping a warm thermal blanket around their shaking shoulders in a moment of salvation. While being hoisted into the loud helicopter, they looked down at the dark jungle, feeling profound fear mixed with deep respect. Inside the bright cabin, glowing instrument panels and modern helmets overwhelmed their senses, instantly pulling them back into the civilized world. The rescue chopper flew away quickly over the endless canopy under a starry sky, leaving the brutal, beautiful wilderness far behind. Resting safely inside a clean, modern hospital room, the survivors stared quietly out the window at the bustling, noisy city below. Their clean hands still carried deep, permanent scars from the wild jungle, serving as a constant reminder of their terrifying ordeal. Tears flowed freely as their loving family entered the room, proving that the ultimate goal of survival was always human connection. Walking through a crowded modern city street, their eyes retained the calm, profound depth of a predator who conquered the wild. Pausing in a quiet park, they gently touched an old oak tree, smiling as they remembered the harsh, vital lessons of nature. We build towering cities to protect ourselves, yet our primal instincts remain sleeping beneath the surface, waiting to ensure our survival. Thank you for watching Vital Life Stories. Join us next time as we explore the incredible resilience of the human spirit.